Hello viewers, I'm SB, enthusiast of Hidden Cube, and welcome back to Islands of Insight, where I have done as I said I was going to do. I've played forward, I have forged out into the Great Wilderness. I've awakened, I believe, all of the islands, all of the areas on the mainland, but not all of the puzzles within those areas. So I've played quite a bit more, and I'm still having a really good time with it, and I thought this would be a good moment to sort of like bring the camera back in, show you how the game's ideas have evolved. In particular, show you this enclave that I'm in currently, because I think this is probably my favorite set of puzzles in the game so far. And then we'll talk about my progress overall, and we'll see some new stuff, and I'll just kind of like catch you up on how I'm feeling about the game, how much I've done, how much more there is, and so on. So the logic grids in this part of this enclave are all about this concept of viewpoint numbers, and I don't remember if we've done any viewpoint numbers stuff on camera. I don't remember where this concept was introduced, because the game is still introducing new twists and ideas, new sort of symbols in like a witness kind of context. So just to briefly explain these, as it explains here, a viewpoint number counts visible cells in the four cardinal directions that are the same color as the cell itself, and it does count itself. So you can see this white cell here can see 5 other white cells in the cardinal directions using the other color of cell as effectively like a line of sight blocker. Like there could be a white cell above or below the black cells around here and it would be fine. So I think the puzzles in this area are demanding just like a little bit more like deductive logic, a little bit more work than some of the stuff that we've seen before. Because like a lot of the puzzles we've seen before were satisfying, but ultimately pretty easy. It's a very sort of like eating M&Ms for your brain kind of vibe. And I'm not going to say that these are like Patrick's Pear Box or anything, but you know they're demanding a little something. So like we have to connect all the dark cells, we have to satisfy all the viewpoint numbers. This is the first puzzle I've seen where the viewpoint numbers weren't on pre-filled cells, but it doesn't really change their function or anything, right? So, okay, this black cell has to get out of the corner, right? There's a couple of different ways, literally a couple of different ways that could be accomplished. But let's just like talk about, and to be clear, I have finished this puzzle already, but I thought this would be a good one to sort of bring you in on. So like if this cell here is black, then in order to satisfy the viewpoint number thing, we have to make both of those cells white. Then in order to get this, because we blocked ourselves in the corner here, in order to get this to reach out of the corner, we have to do that, but that violates this viewpoint number because this thing can see 3 cells of the same color. In addition, in order to, cap it off, we would have to surround it with white cells, which obviously creates this group of isolated black cells. So that's all necessarily the case. If this cell is black, we know this cell can't be black. This one's black now. And because this one's black, like we just thought before, if this was also black, it would violate the symbol. So that's got to be a white cell. The black cell has to reach down like this in order to stay connected to everything else that's going on in the puzzle. And so we have a beginning. We know this one is white because this needs it needs to see a second cell. And then those ones have to get blocked off, and those are both happy. Now, this one needs to see a second cell as well. If it reaches downward, the only way to satisfy it will then be to cap off the sides, which obviously is problematic. So this has to be black. This has to be... we have to put white cells in the 2 dimensions to satisfy that this will be exactly 2 black cells that it can see. And that means that this has to be white and this has to be black to satisfy that. The black cell is going to have to reach out around here. Okay. So we've got a beginning. Now, obviously, this needs to gain a cell as well. If this were to reach out to the right, then obviously this cell has to be black to prevent this thing from seeing too many white cells. And then to complete the shape, we end up drawing this, right? This way we get this thing can see 1, 2, 3, 4. And unfortunately, that captures all of those in that corner. So This can't be white. This shape has to end up looking out here. That means this black cell reaches this way. Now this could be black. If it is, obviously, then we have to cap off the growth of the black shape in this direction so that we don't break this cell. And if that's the case, we have to reach down here. And that seems functional, right? If this were white, then we'd have to capture this space as well, which overloads the 4. So this is going to have to be black. We'll cap this off with white cells to make it exactly 4. This is going to have to reach downward. And then just to make sure all the dark cells connect, there you go. Okay, so that's like the idea here. I have done a lot of puzzles in this area. You can see up there in the upper right, 91 puzzles solved. I'm having a great time, but this area is just absolutely packed with stuff. And down here you can see there is a very long string of puzzles that I have left unfinished. There were a lot of hidden rings. There were a lot of sky drops around here. Some what do you call them? Pentads, so hidden pentads. But let's just go ahead and drop in on this stuff. I think all that remains is the puzzles that are on this line. So we're just gonna try to shoot through these and then. Oh wait, no, sorry, I'm wrong about that. I remember I left a little bit of work over here in the waterfall area as well because I thought these were going pretty well. So yeah, we're doing the same kinds of things over in this area, and let's just get to it. So here we are connecting all the light cells. We can't make a domino pattern of dark cells. And what do we make of that? So like we can't necessarily separate the light cell symbols because this is totally viable for the 3. As long as we cap off all of the directions, and then the 6 could just see a couple more cells on this axis and it would be legal. However, we can start here. This cell can't be white because it would make this 2 able to see 3 cells. So we know this at the very least. And then the light cells all have to connect, so we know this is going to reach outward. And what else? And what else? Okay, so because we don't have domino shapes, any black cell is immediately going to have to be surrounded on the cardinal directions, which gives us some certainties. This cell can now see 3 things, so let's go ahead and cap that off and cover all of these. Okay, we're getting there very quickly. This can see 4 cells and cap this all off, and then also lock that in. This cell can already see 2 cells, so let's cap that off as well and cover these. This is a difficulty 2, so obviously it's coming together a little bit faster. Obviously this cell will have to be dark. If it was light, this thing could see way too much. So that'll be that. This has to be light because we have to keep connecting. This has to be light because we have to keep connecting, which gives us 4 here. Cover all of these. What else do we have already? Let's see. This could be light. This would give us exactly the 3. Oh no, actually it must be light. Sorry, we're actually still blocked off. This is not connected to the main body yet. Must be a white cell, which means this must be a black cell. The white has to reach out to here. Okay, we're getting there. This cell can see 3, 4. So we're not done with that yet. This cell's almost done. We're not cut off. Like, this could be dark because we reach around here to connect to the main body. So it doesn't matter if we're cut off from the north on this side. So we don't actually know. The last cell could be here or it could be there for the 4. Oh, no, sorry. What am I talking about? There's 2 cells to this side. This is already finished, actually. Okay, and then that has to be white so as not to form the double here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If this cell was white, this would finish the 6. That would put a black cell there, but there's still room for us to reach around that cell and connect these two bodies. So we're not yet locked in on that. Okay, what about this? Like, what about this 4? The 3 is either going to reach out to here or down to here, right? This could be a black cell still. Oh, I guess I need to fill that in. That's an unfilled space. So if the 3 reaches down to here, that makes this black, and it would mean that the 5 has to be like these 3 and these 3. Or it could just be straight down. But there has to still be a connection between the two bodies. I feel like looking at the shape of this, I feel like I'm missing something. Okay, well I guess we know the identity of this cell. I don't know how useful this is. But if this were a black cell, it would be necessary for both of these to be white, and that would overload the 3 because of the fact that there's another white cell over here. So we know this is white. I don't think that does very much for us, but we do know it. Is there another place that we have that kind of information? If this was black, these 2 would be white, but that might actually be fine. That would give this cell exactly 4 cells of the same color that it can see. Yeah, a lot about this the shape of these white groups hinges on the shape of the other white groups. There's like one piece of information here that I am missing that is critically important. We have all of our black cells capped off. We have all of our trivial white shapes capped off. Even if both of these were black, there's still plenty of opportunity for the white cells to reach in and make contact with everything, I feel like. Because we have this great big wall of connections. So I don't quite... If this is dark, then the 5 could just reach straight down, or it could do 2 and 2. If the 5 reaches straight down, it creates a black cell here, but like these cells can still be white, so we can still connect this corner shape and this corner shape to the main body. So if this is dark, it forces the 6 to go to here. It creates a light cell there and there. And basically what I'm looking for right now is I'm trying to figure out, is there another cell that we can look at and say, we definitely know the identity here because the other identity is impossible? So if this cell's white, then that means this is looking at 5 cells already, which would mean this can't be white because it would overload the 6. This would have to be dark. If this cell's white, then this cell is also white. It creates a dark cell there, which forces the 4 to have to... It would have to be a dark cell here because it would overload if it connected to the left, with this being white already. So just... Sorry, I should just draw this. So this is what this looks like, right? This has to get drawn... Oh, right. That's a huge problem, actually. This cell literally has to be light because of the fact that there's a cell here not connecting. That was the thing I was missing. So this must be black because the 6 is now satisfied. This also has to be black because the 4 can't reach 2 tiles down and 2 tiles up. And that gives us a bunch more white cells. The 4 is now finished. There we go. This has to be white so that we don't abandon that cell, which means the 3 is now finished. And then this cell gets filled in no matter which way we're satisfying the 5, and that means the 5 is now finished. There it is. That was a very silly thing not to notice, but you know, you get tied up in like the 5 things you do know, and you miss the one critical thing you don't yet know. So yeah, like I said, I'm having a lot of fun with these. 13. This is just all the cells visible to it, right? Yeah. The thing always sees itself, and then plus 3, 4 times. Okay, so that's interesting. All the light cells have to connect, and I suspect, you know, we're going to be doing that mostly through the center. I guess this one's finished. We still have the instruction not to make a pair of black cells together. What else do we have from that? The 5 is going to be able to see these cells and then one more. Now, we don't know which one yet, but we know this at least. This 3 needs one more cell that it can see. Any arrangement of 4 consecutive white cells here is going to, that includes this, is going to include those 2. We know that this 3 doesn't connect straight downward. So either this cell is black or this cell is black. But we don't know which one. I suppose that does mean we know that this cell is white. Same deal over here. We know that this cell is white. Okay. So that's a lot of relatively simple stuff. Is there any place where, like, a particular understanding of, or a particular layout of the cells threatens to cut stuff off? If this is black... Okay, well, this one can't be black. Because if this is black, this is white to complete that shape. And then this must also be black to prevent the 4 from becoming overloaded. And that would leave this 3 stranded. So this has to be white. These both have to be black. Which finishes the 4 as well. And then, obviously, this has to be how the 4 connects out to the main shape. There's going to have to be a black cell in here somewhere to top this off. So this shape is also going to have to connect this way. One of these 2 is black. There's going to be a black cell in here as well. If this is white, that's black. If this is white, that's black, just to cap off the 3. So there's going to be a black cell in one of these 2 and in one of these 2. It doesn't necessarily tell us very much. Well, okay, no, it does. If one of these 2 is black and one of these 2 is black to satisfy the 4 must connect through this top area, which means this cell has to be white. Right? It has to go like that, basically. And that means this is the black cell to prevent the 3 from overloading. So that gives us all of that. Oh, sorry, also, we know that's white because of the because of the black cells having to be surrounded by white cells in this puzzle. Okay, we know that this 2 has to be laid out like this, because if it was laid out the other way, it would be completely contained. And it simply must reach out to the other cells. That also has to be white. This has to be white because the black cells, which means all this stuff is white. This connects in like that. This cell must connect to all the others, and it's going to do so this way, because remember, we are going to have a blockage somewhere over here to cap off this 3. So just like the 4, actually, that means this must be the white cell, because it has to have a way to connect back to the center. Yeah, I think these puzzles are really compelling. I'm having a lot of fun with these. So you can see 6 cells this way and 6 cells that way, and yourself. So there's some blockage. This is not coloring the entire column and row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So all of these cells have to be white at the very least. Even if if this whole row is true, at least this many cells is white, and that solves our 2. And then we get for free a bunch of stuff around those. Similarly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 must be true. We know that the 11 takes up at least this much space on the bottom row, finishing the 5, and that means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. Fill these in. That's a pretty good start. This has to be filled in so that we don't isolate that cell. So that's going to have to be filled in as well. And then all of these. What else? What else? This 5 is actually almost done already. Like, this definitely can't be white. It would overload. It's either this or this to finish. Let's see. This has to be white to prevent stranding that. One of these 2 is white, obviously, to allow this corner group to connect to the rest of the body, but doesn't tell us a huge amount. Okay, actually, for this 5, with this being as far as it can extend in this direction, that's only 2 cells. We have to also be able to see this cell, right? Even if these were both white, it wouldn't be enough. So that is colored in, and that means the 5 is completed. And that means this extends to there, and what does that mean for the way the 5 completes? So it could go just straight down, and we could fill that in with a black square, or it could go up, and we could fill something down here in with a black square, right? Because now that this is connected, like the whole body is connected at this point. What am I missing about where there must be? Because it feels like there's a couple of cells around here that are kind of ambiguous. Am I miscounting? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Turn that black. Oh, yeah, right, because I totally spaced on the fact that it's already at 4. This definitely is black because that would overload it. There we go. Again, you just forget the little things. You think you've accounted for them already, and then it's just like, so put that out of my brain. Okay, so there's a little trail of harder puzzles running up this way. Okay. So the same rules. How do we get started on this one? Okay. Well, for one thing, this cell is white, because if it were black, we'd have to fill in all the spaces around it with white, and it would overload the 2. So this is definitely white. Is there any place else where something like that is immediately useful? Well, I guess we know this is a black cell because the 3 would overload. So that's something. We don't know whether this cell reaches up or down to connect to the rest of the shapes. Okay, these can't both be white, because if they were, connecting the 4 to the 7 would mean the 4 can see 5 spaces. So we could still have one here and then one of these two. Or it could be both of these two and just a black spell, a black site, or a black cell there. Because we're still able to have 2 additional cells added to pretty much everything. That corner trick's not really going to work. For the moment. Anywhere else for the moment. All right, what about the 9? The 9 has a maximum reach of 5 cells here, so it would potentially have, right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or reaching from this side, 6, 7, 8, 9. You got to remember not to count the cell that has the viewpoint number on it on both axes. It only exists once in the count. So we know that. That's true. And it could be that it has the whole column and doesn't possess all the cells in the row. We don't know. But at the very least, it'll be these 3. It's a little tricky to say what that means for the 8 because there's so many cells in the area that could be either dark or light. There's really a lot of unknowns yet. Where else do we know something for sure? We can't double up on black cells. So, okay, like working with the 2, it's either this is black, this is white, and this is black. Or this is black, this is white, and this is black. At the moment, I don't think any of those are particularly problematic. I don't think any of those break anything. If this is white and this is black, it means this is also white, which then means this is black because the 3 is finished. So hold on, let's game this out a little bit. These end up being white to surround this. So this is black and this is black, and that creates a, yeah, that's what I thought was happening. So this cell being black forces all of that to be true. So this cell must be white, which means we do get a little bit more information from that. And then this has to connect out of its corner. So that gives us the shape of the 4. And that actually gives us a lot of information. Actually, it tells us exactly the shape of the 6 as well. There's only one legal arrangement with this blocked and this corner filled in. This is white, this is white. All right, now that we know this, the 7 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And it could just be the whole vertical column instead. This could be black. But in any case, it'll be at least this many white. What else does that give us? It tells us that this top left side connects to the main body of the puzzle through the top, which means this could be a black cell. It doesn't have to be, but it could be. Because the fact that it blocks the connection here doesn't matter. We have a safe connection already. All right. What else? This 3 could extend down. It can't just extend to the right. One of these two cells will be black, because if it just extended to the right, it's either 2 or 4. So this cell will be white no matter what. It definitely has to reach down at least once, which gives us a safe connection for this cell. If this one is white, this one is black. Well, actually, this cell's black either way, because now this 4 can see 3 cells, so it can't connect upward or it would overload. So that gives us the shape of the 3. The 4 ends by connecting... Oh, sorry, this also is white. The 4 ends by connecting here or here. And in doing either, brings the 5 immediately up to 3 cells. But I don't think it tells us... And it blocks off one side of the 5. The other tile will have to be black. But I don't think it tells us very much about the 5 aside from that. Exactly how the 5 is laid out will tell us whether this cell is white or black. Okay, actually, hold on. Is it not the case... No, never mind. I was going to say something a little silly, it turns out. So... Actually, now that this is black... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The minimally encroaching shape for this 9, the minimally bottom encroaching shape for this 5 is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This cell also must be white. And the 9 can only reach 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So actually, these cells are guaranteed to be white, which makes this the shape of the 9. Yeah, because it's running out of room to gain more squares as the area fills in. So that's really interesting for this 4. It blocks this cell off. Also, we get this from the black cell because of the 4 would overload, obviously, and that gives us exactly the shape of the 4, which gives us exactly the shape of this 4, which gives us exactly the shape of this 5. This cell must be on. This cell must be off. The 7 can see 7. The 8 can see 1 plus 7. There we go. That really wasn't that much harder. That is calling to us for sure here. Oh, that's weird. These two reach out from this middle puzzle. I guess like, this is gonna show us some principle that's critical in the others. Okay, so right away we have this situation with the viewpoint 2 again, where we can go ahead and apply that these must be light, because if they were dark, they would overload the 2. This also, yeah, all 4 of the corners have to be that way. That gives us some interesting stuff about this 4. 3's in kind of a weird place where like there's a lot of... All of the permutations of this 3 are still live, I think. The 4 could connect to here. No, this cell can't be white, because if this cell's white, to complete the 2, we have to make black, black, black. And then to complete the 4, we make black and black, and that creates 2 black cells next to each other. So the 4 has to be terminated here, and then reach down like that. Absolutely must be. So we don't yet know. I guess we know this is black because the 2 would overload if it reached right. All the light cells still have to be connected, but that doesn't look like a problem just yet. I guess it tells us that this is white. And then what? This can't connect directly to the right. So it must have either either up or down as part of its group, and it could be both. It could just reach upward like that. I suppose it is worth noting this cell can have at most one of these two cells be black because it does have to connect to the greater shape. It doesn't necessarily influence very much about this 3. It's just like if the 3 is these two spaces, then this is black to cap off the 3's line of sight, which means this can't also be black or this thing would be stranded. But we have no idea if that is true of the 3 yet. So if this reaches downward, it caps this off and that as well, forcing white tiles in areas that seem pretty unproblematic. This cell being white actually is a little interesting because like there's a bunch of different legal organizations of things that it does prevent, right? We can't have, if this cell is black, all of these have to be white in order for it to connect through, which is impossible because it would overload the 3, actually. So this cell has to be white, which makes this cell black, and also this one. And then one of these two is white. Does it matter? The solutions to the puzzles are non-ambiguous. Oh, sorry, this is white. Yes, that solves the problem there. And this must be white. And then this has to be white because actually the right and left halves of the puzzle are not connected until you do that. So yeah, this is where we're at. We're still, you know, it's still Islands of Insight. It's still doing this thing. So we have an underclued grid here. This is interesting. We're able to deduce 10 tiles from the information that we have here. So each black tile that we can deduce obviously gives us a lot of information. I guess we know this and this must both be white because if they were black, they would overload this 3. Then we know from that's telling us something. But what is that something? Each of these tiles can only gain one white neighbor. This can't be white. I guess actually, so we know this is black because if this was white, it would solve both of these, and then we'd have to do a pair of black tiles along the sides. And then that being black means that tile is white. Then one of these is white and the other is black, and that's true on this side as well. Right, because again, if it was like this, these are both solved, and you have to go do this thing. But what does that mean? Like at the moment, you know, like these are reversible. One of them is white, one of them is black, but it could be either way. So what does that tell us? So one of these tiles ends up being white. It's like just to draw it for a second. Like obviously the tile that's on the other side of the black tile ends up being a white tile as well. And it doesn't necessarily end up being the case that like, because you could almost say that you have to, it like draws a path of white tiles because things have to connect, but they don't have to connect through the bottom because they could connect through the top, right? So it would be okay, say, for this tile to be white and then this tile to be black because they can just, like, you can just run white around the top potentially. So that means that's why this tile being white does not necessitate this tile also being white to draw a connection. So these are not actually guaranteed. What, man? What is it? What else am I able to get with certainty here? But the thing is, the white tiles that are on the outside of the black tiles could absolutely run through the bottom. So we can't guarantee that these tiles are white either. I mean, one of them has to be, because this has to connect to the main body of the puzzle somehow. But it could just be on one side. We can't guarantee either of these being the side of connection. Unless we can prove somehow... Oh, I'm not thinking far enough. Like, if this is white, then these things are true, right? That means this is white, and if that's the case, these things are true. So actually, the bottom part of the puzzle does require, like, these actually do have to be white. Because the bottom part of the puzzle is going to have to connect to the cell that is on the other side through the top. The top is a place where the connection is made. So these two cells are guaranteed. Nothing else about this arrangement is, though, at least as far as I can see. You're going to end up with... Well, these two cells are also guaranteed, though, right? Because the black cells end up having to be surrounded by white cells. And then those white cells have to get connected to the main body of the puzzle, right? These will have to be white, or, you know, in the other arrangement, the ones on the other side. And those all have to connect up. So, like, this right here is all actual known knowns. These tiles all have to be white to ensure that all of the white tiles in the puzzle can connect. But you're going to get that sort of exaggerated octomino Z shape that's stretched Z or S shape. And it could be in either direction. And it's hard to know, like, all four of these cells, I think, are... Yeah, all four of these cells are sort of like in flux. All four of these cells on each side. So the 8 cells around the 3s are in flux. So what else do we know for sure? On one side, this cell will be guaranteed white, but not necessarily on the other side. Am I missing something embarrassingly obvious? So, like, on one side, one of these is going to be black and the other one's going to be white. So, like, on this side, you get these guaranteed additional cells, but they're not guaranteed elsewhere. And whatever the guarantee is, it's going to be something symmetrical. So it's going to be one more cell on each of these sides. Is it the corner? Because if you have this thing, this cell in the corner has to be white because it's adjacent to a black cell, and this cell in the corner has to be white because it feeds... Yeah, it is the corner cells. The game disagrees, but I think this is right. Oh, well, I guess actually... These cells aren't guaranteed, are they? Because the puzzle could connect through... yeah, these two aren't guaranteed, because the puzzle could connect through the top. But these cells are guaranteed if the bottom corner cells are guaranteed. Yeah, okay, that's where my mistake was. Because that's the only way for both of these to reach up and grab the main shape. Yeah, these puzzles are just really good. I'm just really enjoying these ones a lot. Okay, so once again, we have a bunch of cells that can only gain one white, which tells us that their corners can't be black for overload reasons. We get 6 more tiles out of this, so they are going to be black at the ends, I assume. Yeah, for reasons of avoiding making a big, a bunch of black, consecutive black cells. And then the deal here is the remaining, the way this shape finishes is going to be that, right? It's either this or the vertical reverse of this. So from that, what do we get? It's going to be very similar, right? So like, okay, one thing we know is that these two cells must be, no, these two, one of the cells on this side is going to be black. Shoot. I was thinking like this cell needs a way to connect out to the major shape, right? It connects through the other side of the force. So on one side, the white group is terminating. But on this side, it'll be like this. So you're going to get this like chevron pattern. Okay, so the top and bottom center cells are connected because on one side you're going to have this thing that needs to reach up out, and on the other side you're going to have something covering for a black cell. So that's true. The cells on the bottom need to connect to the cells on the top somehow. They need to connect through one of the sides, but I don't know. Both of these have to be white just because the cells over here are black. Like that's just the rules, one of the main rules of the puzzle. Okay, so we know. Let me remove the tiles we don't yet know here for a second, just to get a count. Oh, I figured out all the stuff. Okay, that's why we stop and get a count, because I was like, I don't know how many more deductions I need. It turns out it was that many. That was the number. So you can see there are there have been hidden rings. So I'm kind of like trying to. Oh no, there is one there, isn't there? Yeah, we can get that before we return to the thing we're doing. There we go. Hooray! Another level of mastery. So yeah, this is quite a tall area, and you can see it has, there's a lot of waterfalls in this game. There's just so many waterfalls. I wanted to finish all the logic grids here and then sort of talk about some other areas and stuff, but it's taking long enough that that's maybe not a real plan. So you can see I have awakened all of the areas of the mainland. Nothing is completely fog covered anymore. We're level 26 at this point, so I've done a fair number of puzzles. One thing that I think is actually kind of interesting is that if we look at the mastery thing, I have found a couple more puzzle types, shy auras, sets of rings that have to be shot through like a pilot wings course. But there actually is still something unrevealed. There's some kind of idea that we have not even broached yet. And given that it's willing to collapse all of the logic grids into a single box, I do think that's really interesting. I'm very curious to see what this is. You know what? We're just going to kind of somewhat stick to the plan here. Let's just go do some more logic grids. Those of you who are still watching at this point in a Islands of Insight episode apparently enjoy what's going on. Like you must, right? Okay, so 5, 6, 7, like in a puzzle of this size, these 7s give us this much information, and it turns out that's all the information that was deducible. There's not enough room for them to fit on one axis. Okay, this one is actually going to completely fill the cross, isn't it? No, that would be 9 tiles. That would be 9 tiles. So whichever tile is missing, it's going to be at one of the ends, right? Maybe we can finish everything. These are we shooting through these real fast. Okay, so the tile that's missing for this 3 is in this row, which means this 3 will also be solved, so this will be black. For the 5s, the same thing is true. So actually, we just know that. And also this. Oh, this is actually... I thought these were this was one long line of puzzles. There's actually a couple of different lines of puzzles. Where is the other starting point? Oh, well, I guess this one branches in 2 directions is the idea. Well, let's follow the one we already started. Okay, so white cell around here somewhere, and then we cap this, so there'll be 3 cells for the white over here, and this will also be true. With puzzles like this, where it's like a single deduction, I'm never sure if I'm going too fast for people, or if to explain it anymore would be going too slow for people. So this 2 is already finished, which means this 4 is shaped like this. The 5 can't extend all the way out here because it's already... So, like, the 5 could extend at most to there. It does feel like this 3 could finish in either tile. And we don't have any other rules here. That's an important thing to remember. We can't do, like, domino deductions or anything because it's not true that the... like 2 black tiles could be adjacent to each other. So what else do we definitively know? I guess, sorry, we know that at least this many tiles will be white. And I think it's about to explain. Yeah, when a viewpoint number sees another viewpoint number, the higher number must expand in the perpendicular direction because the lower number is going to finish the axis that they're both on. It is going to put a cap in place. So this 4 is gonna... Okay, that's actually kind of interesting because the 4 could do this, right? No, it can't. If these were the cells of the 4, there wouldn't be enough room for the 7 to exist because this is only 6 points. So what we know for sure is that this cell is turned on. And because we know that cell is turned on, and that's true on both sides, we know that the 4 could extend at most this far, causing both of those to be black, and requiring the 7 to seek 3 additional cells vertically. What is the 1 remaining tile? So if the 4 were to extend this way, and we were to mark this at this, yeah, the 7 can reach up here. That's fine. We're not required. This is not necessarily black. This one is black, so this could be white or that could be white. Oh, but the point is, this will have to be black because the other point for the 7 will be in the row. Silly me. Still getting some weird little like movement hitches and stuff because it's still an online game for absolutely no reason. Okay, this is a little bit more complex. So we have at most 2 more cells in the up axis here, meaning that the 6 will have 4 cells in that direction, which means that we'll have to extend at least this far in this direction. It could extend at most all the way to the edge, which would still leave this looking for 2 more cells. Then because this is true, it actually adjusts the previous conclusion, right? Because now this 4 is only looking for 1 more cell, which means this is capped at 3, so there has to be another cell here to satisfy the 6. So the 5 can reach at most out to here, leaving the 7 looking for 2 cells, which actually means the 3 is complete. And for purposes of the 5, these must both be white. Yeah. And actually, no, that's the 5 complete as well. So that tells us that the 7 finishes here. Okay, and the 4 could be, it could finish there or there. Do I have a count issue here? Yes, sorry. The 6 can only extend 5 tiles across this because it can see the 4, which means this tile is guaranteed to be in the 8 as well. I just completely forgot about the tile the 4 is in. And this is actually not connected to that line. I don't think I saw this set of puzzles up the stairs. Man, there are a lot of puzzles in this enclave. And it's like, it's not very big is the thing. Okay, these are both black. All the dark cells have to be connected on this one, so that cell needs to not be abandoned. And so, okay, multiple symbols can be in a region, but obviously these count regions can't be touching a count region of a different size. Yeah, having counting regions and viewpoint number regions in the puzzle together is definitely interesting. So this is also locked off, meaning that has to reach out. Oh, right. This tile will have to reach out for the black shape, which means this tile will also be white. The black shape has to reach out here as well. Okay, what else? This tile could be white, but this tile... Well, this tile can be white if this tile isn't, right? The thing is, we have to avoid overloading this 3. So if the 7 reaches out to here, it still has to reach upward enough that it ends up being the case that, like, we just know this is true. All right, this 5 is going to need to reach out one more cell. These 2 do not connect for sure because the 5's not long enough, but we don't know exactly what shape the 5 group takes. So there's a black cell somewhere in here. It could be there. And even if it is, that means this cell still has to be white for this to have enough room. And that means you're finished, which means this has to be black, which means that finishes the viewpoint of this 3. This can't run all the way to the wall, or else these black cells would be stranded, which means that there's at most 1 white cell here, so there is a white cell there for sure. And then the last one is one of those 2 spots. I do wish that the game had tools for marking, like, these are the theoretical bounds of where this shape could be, just for as much for the sake of talking about the puzzles as anything else. So, I mean, the white 5 shape has to go here. It has to connect like that, and then this cell has to be black to connect the right and bottom sides of the puzzle to this thing at the top. Okay, I think this cell has to be white, because if this cell is black, then these cells are ambiguous. They could be either white or black and it would be fine. And that's not how the puzzles work. So in order for the puzzle to be non-ambiguous, that has to be a white cell. And then this has to be black to connect things, and that leaves this space. That was also solvable by figuring out the white space on the left first, but... Okay, and letters. Also sometimes letters. Always, sometimes, letters. And don't make this pattern is interesting as well. How do we start this one? Okay. Well, the white 5 up here can't just reach across because it would overload the 4 if it did. So it's going to have to reach down at least to some degree. There's at least one cell here that's lit. And it can't just reach down because it would overload itself on the B. So that's true, which means this is black, so we don't make the pattern. That is certainly something. That is a start. So the A is going to have to wrap around the B. Right? There's no way for the B to wrap around the A. In fact, the B has a very constrained possible shape. And it's going to include this 5 in it, no matter what. So since we know that, since we know there's no way for the B to go around the 5 is part of the B, that means this cell has to be black. The A is going to have to reach out this way around it. The 3 and the 6 can't connect. So the 6 is going to have to reach out at least this far. And in fact, the 6 is going to have to reach out at least this far, because only one tile above it could be white, and it might not even be. It might be that it reaches all the way to the corner here. Then the white is going to have to reach up. Well, I guess this 3 is going to have to be part of the A group, right? Because the A group can't run through here. So it's going to have to be like this in order for the A to reach the other A, which means the 6 completes here. And that's blocked because the A and the B are not touching. This is going to have to be blocked because that's got to be true. So then this is white. That finishes that shape. This is white, which creates a blocker here. All right, the B shape is live, and actually that 5 is finished, which means the A connects through this 5 as well. These have to be black. This has to be black to avoid making the pattern. So this 5 is getting more and more constrained. It can have at most 3 cells down this way at this point, so we know this is true. And since we know this is true, shoot. This is impossible. This can't be right. Because now this 5 is uncompletable. Am I wrong? I'm definitely wrong somewhere. But I don't immediately see where. Did I make a bad assumption with the idea that like pretty much the B has to connect in this shape and the A has to connect around it? I don't think so, because you have to. There has to be at least a one space gap between the two lines, and there's definitely you can't like reach the B up around like this, like a horseshoe, because there's not room to pass the A on the left. Yeah, the line from B to B has to be quite direct, and then there's a way to reach around with the A. Try to see if I can fix whatever weird assumption I made without breaking everything here. But like, this is not acceptable. The shape of the puzzle. Oh, sorry, you do have to gain another tile, don't you? The shape of the puzzle almost necessitates that, though, doesn't it? Like... So the fact of this 5 being exactly that number of tiles away from 2 other existing white tiles means that it is going to have to reach out both ways. This is going to have to be black. The fact that the A has to be separated from the B is going to mean this tile has to... Yeah, it has to extend at most 1 tile downward. And it definitely can't extend any tiles left because this has to be black. So how are you not going to have this problem? Oh, because this tile doesn't have to be white for the A to connect. This is the problem. I assumed that tile would be white for the A to connect to the 5, but it can connect like this. Yep, there's your issue. And then to avoid making the pattern, this tile is black and this tile is white to complete the 4. That's what it was. An assumption made quickly that seemed so obvious must turn out not to be obvious. Okay, so darts count opposite color cells in their direction. It's been a minute since we've seen the dart puzzles. This is true, which means that's true. This is true, which means that's true. Also, this 2 is solved. You can see at most 2 dark cells this way. In fact, you must see exactly 2 dark cells this way to satisfy the dart. So that's also 2 dark cells. What else? You need 1 more. You need none more. So you have 1 already. So one of these 2 cells is dark. It seems like this cell's got to be dark in order to satisfy... Yeah, because... Oh, no, never mind. I was going to say, at most, one of these 2 cells is dark. In fact, exactly one of these 2 cells is dark. Right? Which tells us that this is finished, and then this one needs another one. But it doesn't. It already has another one. So this one is also finished by that information. This is a dark cell. Doesn't that leave this ambiguous? It's like one of these 2 is dark and one of these 2 is light. What am I missing? Sorry, this one is the dark one. Because if this was dark, it would overload the 3. Oh, this has to be light to finish the 3. That's why that's like that. Does this go up to... I'm assuming this goes up to a place where I've already done puzzles. Okay, so we have this the symmetry symbol here. We have an axis of symmetry that must be respected within the group that this block is a part of. So again, they've been doing things. All right, this could reach at most 3 cells upwards, so the 5 must reach here. That's white for the same reason. And in order to respect symmetry, this must also be true. This must also be true. We don't have anything about the puzzle or the shapes having to be all of the tiles of a color having to be connected or anything like that. This can reach at most 2 tiles up here now. All right, well, this is going to have to reach 1 tile in one of these directions, and so it has to reach a tile in the other direction as well, because symmetry. Then we're going to have to cap it off like this. This is now connected, and so it looks like that. This black shape is still symmetrical along that axis, so that's fine. Oh, this thing having no tiles more than 1 to the right of it means there cannot be tiles more than 1 to the left of it in its shape either. To keep this shape symmetrical, we have to do that. This tile would also be white because obviously it doesn't extend into that tile. And that means this is the rest of the 5. Oh, wait, no, it doesn't mean that. This is the rest of the 5. This tile is not in view of that 5. I don't know. I forgot how the symmetry works in my head. Yeah, and then this tile is black because that tile is black, and that means this tile being black means that tile is black. I really like it when they combine the symbols of the different puzzles. And keep in mind, these are all 2 difficulty. So I'm not seeing any of these symmetry symbols for the first time. These are all things that have existed before. So center of rotational symmetry, that's going to have to be black in order to keep that true. And if these tiles are white, it's not that these tiles must be white, it's that they can't be black. I believe the galaxy symbol only affects the tiles of its color in the group, but it necessarily means some things about the other color of tiles as well. So these 2 could be dark or they could be light. Those would both work. The 6, there is enough space for this 6 to work in this axis or to reach out and become part of the 4. I guess we do have another rotational symmetry tile here, so these all have to be white for this to remain rotationally symmetrical, right? So then this shape can gain at least 1 more cell, or at most 1 more cell, so it can't reach out that way. And that means this is also white for the galaxy. Then that means these are all white, which means this is going to have to reach at least 2 tiles up, so we know it reaches at least 3 tiles up. It could go to here, it could go to there. If this tile's black, it means this tile's white, which would be fine symmetry-wise. And it would tell us that that tile's white. Or wait, yeah, they're just 180 degree rotational. They don't have to be. They don't have to work on other angles. You can see this one does not. This one does not symmetry 90 degrees. This feels like there are ambiguous cells in it, though, doesn't it? Well, I guess we know these are black. Because these are black. Oh, this cell can't be white because that cell's not white. So that gives us the shape of the 5. But it breaks the... Wait, is this a problem? Oh yeah, because this can't connect to this tile. All right, well, first of all, I'm pretty sure that's true. But now, yeah, we have a problem where this is black, but that's... Like, this tile can't be white because it connects the rotational symmetry thing to a tile that can't be mirrored on the other side. But it also can't be black because that breaks this thing. Wait, am I wrong about how the galaxies were? Oh, this tile. Shoot. Hold on, there's a bunch of stuff wrong here. This white rotational symmetry tile actually fucks up everything. Hold on a second. All right. Things that we know for sure. Let me try this again. Let me come at this again. I haven't worked with these galaxy tiles too much, so that might be part of my issue. The thing is, like, this is just true. This has to be black. If it's white, it violates the thing. So that means all of these are white. And if all of these are white, this one has to be white. And that means this one has to be white. We got to maintain the 180-degree rotational symmetry of the galaxy tile. Okay, all of that stuff is definitely good. If this is black, this breaks. So this couldn't be black. Which means it has, like, these have to be white if these two are white, right? To maintain the symmetry. But this is where we start running into trouble, where we just have like a million tiles in this group, and it starts making things really complicated. So as things are right now, this can see 3 tiles. It can't connect out that way, which makes you a black tile. Oh, but I think I assumed it went up this way when that's not. It could go down as well. I think this is where I screwed this up. I made a false assumption around the 4 here. All right, well, we know this. If this tile's black, all those tiles have to be white. That's simply true. I don't think we have very good information about this 4 yet. But what else do we know? We know this tile has to be black, because if this tile's white, then we would also have to draw white here and here, which we can't do. If this tile's black, that tile must also be black to maintain this galaxy. And then this tile has to be white because this galaxy has to stop expanding in that direction, which means this tile is also white to maintain this galaxy. That closes the 4. This tile's got to be black because the galaxy can't extend 2 spaces in that direction without expending 2 spaces in this direction. This tile could be white. It could be. Okay. So now we have this 5. This 5 has to extend into this tile, no matter what. And the fact that that already represents 4 spaces means it can't extend this way. It has to cap like that. Okay. I don't know exactly where I screwed up last time, but we figured that, at least. And yeah, this comes up to a little plateau with some buildings on it and some other puzzles doing other things with the elements. And there were some, some rings to hit and some sky drops. Again, like, the game has not ceased to be as absolutely packed full of puzzles. Hey, look at that. I think I walked off the edge right as the super jump would have triggered. Okay, one of the lines eventually leads you up here to see this, which I apparently saw from somewhere else. But what I did not see from somewhere else was this little puzzle over here. I don't think there's any hidden rings in this area, although it feels like there should be. Okay, don't make this pattern. So this, sorry, wrong mouse button. This 4 is dead simple. And then that tile's got to be white for a bunch of reasons. With this 4, well, okay, first of all, these 2 tiles have to be white to avoid making this pattern upside down over here. So that's going to go that way. This tile has to be white for the same reason. So this could extend at most 2 tiles up, which means it also must extend to here. Also, all the dark cells in the puzzle have to be connected. This cell will have to be white to avoid making a rotation of that. And that cell has to be white to avoid an orphaned black cell. So this also has to be black. This has to be white for pattern reasons. These have to be black for connection reasons. Okay. One of these 2 tiles is black, but not the other one. And actually, that's true here as well. So, okay, one thing we know for sure is that this is not true, because if this is true, then there's none of these can be black. Any one of these being black creates some version of that shape. So, one of them could be black, but they can't both be black, and this can't be the way they connect. This can't be the way this shape connects to that shape. So yeah, we kind of have to do this staircasing thing, and I'm wondering if that's like true all the way down here, basically. But we have to be able to connect the dark cells that are going to serve as the edges of these white shapes too, right? So if this white shape extends down this way, just like drawing what the black tiles would have to do around it. No. Okay, if the white shape extends down this way, I think there's no way for this thing to connect around without forming some version of the pattern. Like if we do this, yeah, you can't fill in either of those cells without making the thing. No, that doesn't help. So we know the white shape doesn't do this. This cell at least must be black. Or, we know these two cells can't both be white, but I guess, I don't know, maybe this one could be white if that one was black? That's a possibility still. In any case, what we do know is that this cell is white. This could be white or that could be white. If this is white, this is black. But if this is black, does this have to? I do not know. The answer is I do not yet know. Also, if this is white, I guess it's interesting to note that this being black completely constrains this shape. Intuitively, I'm suspecting it's going to end up being the case that the black shape sort of snakes up around here and then does the same thing back down. That just feels like what the puzzle's set up for. But I'm trying to get there not through intuition, but through logical moves. And plus, intuition doesn't necessarily tell you exactly where the bends are, right? I think it is going to be the case that this black line goes along the bottom, though. The problem with this is, like, once this corner... Oh, okay, no, we can prove that. Once this corner tile exists... No, never mind, I can't. I was going to say, anywhere you extend up is going to create this shape. But that's not true if it just does the snake, right? Like, there could just be an area under here that is covered by white tiles. But also, this is absolutely legal. It's just that if you draw out very much, you really, like, you can only go up on the last tile of the row that is black. Which means this tile has to be white, actually. No, it doesn't. It just means that this tile can't be... If this tile's black, then so is that one, is what it means. Phooey. I feel like I'm... Like, this is at least a difficulty 5 puzzle. It's not totally unreasonable that I'm getting stymied, but I am feeling a little stymied here. And we have so much work left to do. All right, you know what? I think I'm going to go ahead and call this one. I'm seeing the time. Um, I'm just going to make this a 2-episode excursion back into the Islands of Insight, and then maybe we'll leave off for a little bit while I try to find the last puzzle type and stuff. Yeah, so that's going to be it for us for today. Thank you all so much for watching. When you come back next time, we are finishing this enclave, I swear to you. And we'll see you then.